I believe I'm live. I'm not yet seeing any comments. I don't know where I'm supposed to be seeing those. Okay, there we go. I'm seeing comments. So if you are, or if you come on live, just give me a thumbs up, say I'm here. And if you're watching this replay, then welcome. It's awesome that you are watching. So I just wanted to start off by introducing myself. I'm a holistic psychologist, which means I don't just focus on the head stuff. I focus on the body, focus on the spirituality. I focus on the whole picture of what makes you who you are and how you experience life. I also do body talk, which works with the body and mind connection through muscle testing. I live in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm a mother of an 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son, and I am married and have 3 fur children. And I'm a very unwilling mother to 2 rats because my daughter thought that she wanted rats for pets, and well, that didn't work out so well for me. Okay, so that's a bit about me. What I'd like to do really before I go on is to actually acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge how extremely difficult it is to live with chronic fatigue, burnouts in your life. In a society that is so focused on producing an achievement for value, to be worthy, it is extremely hard to not feel capable. And usually, those of us who experience chronic fatigue are those who are used to feeling very capable, and we place a lot of our value in that. So it is difficult. And I don't know if you have this, but for many people, there's also this deep sense of you could be so much more, and you battling to even just achieve the basics in life, to show up as a mother, a wife, a father, a brother, a colleague, etc., a friend. And you are not alone. Please know you're not alone. I've been there. I know what it's like. I've worked with loads of clients. And that's also why I set up this group, so that you could have support and see that you're not alone. But I also want you to know that there's hope. Okay, there is hope. I have walked the journey, and and because of my own experience, it's why I do what I do. Why I want to share what I share, and why I'm so passionate about it, because not only did I overcome chronic fatigue, I learned a huge amount about myself and gained massive gifts in the process. And I have a life far beyond the life that was normal for me when I did first experience chronic fatigue. So I just want you to know that is possible. So that's also why I'm sharing this today. Firstly, well, the main point is the way that we heal ourselves it's an old system. Okay, we've been programmed to believe that we need to ask people out there for what we must give to ourselves to help us to heal. So we rely on outside help. We take these things like, I'd call them all a prescription diet, a prescription lifestyle change, a prescription supplement, prescription medication. And we take it in the hope that we will feel better, right? So the problem is that it's a system in which you are seeing that your body is you believe that your body is broken, and somebody needs to fix it for you. They need to tell you what to do to fix it. And you kind of essentially go into war against your own body. And you also become reliant on this external system. So a lot of people experience, like, don't get me wrong, there's certainly benefit in seeing a functional medical doctor, integrative doctor, holistic doctor who tries to look at the whole picture. And it can have benefit, but there still can be a reliance on that, a reliance on the diet or the medication. And then when you're no longer taking it and the next stressful experience happens, another crash, right? And I saw this in my life, and I did it 4 times in a row. And I was like, come on, and you're smarter than this. You know that you're just dealing with the surface and you're not looking at what's underneath. Why do I keep bringing myself back into this pattern? Okay, so that's the old system, and it's also the easy way. It's easier. And when you're feeling exhausted, lost, and overwhelmed, you just want someone to take your hand and help you and make it better. Correct? Okay. So the thing is, the new way that I want to talk about, the different way, is focusing on the body and mind connection, which means having to tune back to yourself. Okay? Because if you are going to take the supplements and do the lifestyle change, it's awesome. But how is it right for you? What feels right about that? So I remember taking it all. Like, just give it to me. Okay, is that going to work? Cool. Take that. Is this going to work? Must I stop eating this? Okay, and I'll stop, and I'm going to do it 110% because that's what my personality is, and I'm sure you can resonate. So it's about being in connection with yourself and actually going back into yourself and taking back your own power, becoming empowered in your journey. Why is this? It's because your body has become imbalanced because of your own experience of life. Okay, so I'm going to let that sink in a bit. When I say body and mind connection, I'm not talking about mental illness. I'm talking about the belief systems we have and the emotions we have that cause our bodies to respond in a particular way, that if they do that chronically can lead to physical symptoms and imbalance. Okay. So the thing is, with most of my clients that I see with chronic fatigue and burnout, is that there is a general sense of not feeling safe in the world. What do I mean by this? I don't mean... Okay, so firstly, let me go back to mental illness. Okay, because I had a client say to me, I don't believe, or a reader actually who read one of my posts, I don't believe my fibro is caused by mental issues. It's because most people, when I say mental disorders, or even when I say I'm a psychologist, they automatically think of crazy. Like what? It's like this big, all-embracing term for this thing that is not good, right? The fact is, I think we're all a little bit crazy. Like I don't know anyone who's 100% stable. We all have emotions. We all have anxiety. We all lose our temper. So if you're going to look at crazy like that, we all have a bit of crazy in us, okay? Because we all do have emotions. We all do have an emotional response to life. And those emotions actually serve us, but we've been conditioned to believe that they're scary and bad. So we spend a lot of our energy and time going into an anxiety and stress response about our emotions. And then we have a thought about something, and then have an emotional response about the thought, and then we have a physical response in the body because of the emotional response about the thought about our reality. So the body and mind connection is ultimately based on how you perceive your reality in a way that causes a physical change in your body. And it's usually, when it's in the negative, it's because you're perceiving life as unsafe in some way. This means that on some level, you're feeling overwhelmed, scared, out of control, disempowered, right? And I'd love to know, if you're watching the replay, comment, does this resonate? Are these feelings that resonate with you? Because the problem is also many of us think that this is normal, okay? And I'm certainly not putting you down if you are like that, or if you're having some resistance now. Because let me tell you, I went to a therapist, and I wrote a post about this recently. Went to a psychologist when I was 21, and he said to me, basically along the lines of, you're very anxious and you try and control life because of that. And I heard, you think you're in control, but you're actually not. And I never went back to him because I wasn't ready to hear that. Because here's the thing, I'm an anxious person. I'm predisposed to anxiety. My mother's pretty anxious. My father had anxiety. It runs in the family. And I'd say that a huge proportion of our population right now is anxious. So we're very likely going to experience things as if they could in some way be harmful or make us feel slightly overwhelmed or unsafe. Because I know that about myself, I have learned how to embrace it and actually just allow it to be there, and it passes. Because anxiety is trying to tell you something needs to be focused on. Worry helps you to make adaptations. Okay, so it's not a bad thing. But when you think it's bad and you respond as if it's bad, and then the body goes into a stress state about it, that's when it becomes negative for you. So, back to the beginning. Our thoughts about life, our beliefs about life, if we feel like we're victims, if we feel we're disempowered, create a physical response in the body, because the nervous system has it goes into a fight and flight response or a freeze response. Or interestingly, one of the freeze responses is called fawning, which is where we become people pleasers. We try and keep people happy. So when we go into fight and flight, that's when our coping mechanisms kick in. So I'm going to come back to that. But essentially, many people with chronic fatigue do not feel safe unless they are holding. What do I mean by that? These are the coping mechanisms. Holding are when we try and rescue, we try to fix things, we try to be capable and responsible, and we try to achieve. We hold on to other people's emotions, take it all on. We're constantly working and in action and doing, because it helps us to feel in control, and hold everything together, hold all the balls in the air. Okay, it's just very much a self-reliant and overly responsible kind of, and perfectionistic kind of way of being. And you may not meet all these criteria, but if you do meet any of them, please comment. I'd love to know. So not only has your nervous system now gone into fight and flight because there's a perception of threat. So I lost my story. What I was trying to say is that many of us can have this response and not realize that it's actually not that healthy for us. So I had that degree of anxiety, and I didn't want to know it. I was too disconnected from it. It took me a long time to realize that actually I was an anxious person, and to embrace it and to see how it was impacting my life so that I could make differences around it. So I'm just asking you to maybe consider, is it possible that you maybe do get quite easily overwhelmed? Maybe you do get quite easily stressed. Perhaps you do often feel powerless or unsupported or alone. These are all aspects that mean that you've gone into a slight fight-flight response, and you're perceiving whatever the experience is as unsafe. And that's then going to have a physical impact in the body. So when the nervous system is activated, it even impacts you on a cellular level, where your mitochondria will go into cell danger response mode, which means that they can't also be in a regenerative mode at the same time. Okay. So I'm not going to go into the full details about how feeling like you're under threat can cause physical and biochemical changes. If you want, I can share posts, just comment and let me know if you want posts, links to posts that I've done where I share more about that. You can also learn more about the holding personality in my ebook on my website, www.kerrymagnus.net, where I share more about this holding personality. The body-mind connection is also related to, I actually just want to give you a story. So I was working at the, how are we doing for time here? Perfect. I was working at the it was the trauma center in Cape Town, and I was working on the trauma response team. So we were first responders to traumas, right? And I had just finished my master's. I was the youngest, I was the newest on the team. And being myself, being who I was, I did everything at 110%. And I really actually got on very well with the team leader. So I got quite a good insight into how she did things. Anyway, she ended up leaving because the system, it was an NGO. They were overburdened, overworked, and the staff weren't really well cared for. And it was interesting because I didn't do it on purpose or consciously, but I ended up kind of taking on the acting role of the team leader. So I was the youngest and the newest member of the team. I didn't get recognized if I didn't get paid for it. But people in the team started to come to me and started to ask me questions because they saw that I kind of picked up how to do things. I was capable, I was responsible, I wanted to keep people happy. I knew how to do it, so why not just do it? Yeah, does this resonate? I ended up taking on that role as the newest and the youngest person in the team, and I very quickly burnt out. And then I wasn't any good to myself. I wasn't any good to any of my team members, and I wasn't any good to the trauma center because I left. Okay, so I wasn't doing anyone any favors. The reason I did it was because it was just part of my tendency to not feel 100% safe and needing to feel in control. But I was also working in an environment where I was seeing a huge amount of trauma, and it was really triggering my own trauma at the time. And my coping mechanisms had come out big time, and it just led to me burning out even more. So that's just an example of how holding can play out. So it was my perception of my environment, my perception of it was how I felt, how I was not feeling very in control. I was feeling overwhelmed. I did not feel safe and relaxed. And I put these things into place, and my nervous system so it was the doing of all of those things. So it's all the coping mechanisms themselves that take up energy. And it was also my nervous system imbalance, then creating biochemical and physical changes in my body that then led to my body burning out. Okay. So we are not able to heal fully unless our body goes into a rested state. Unless we are connected back to our body. But to connect means we have to feel. So we have to feel to heal. And we have to learn that it is safe to feel. And that in fact, our emotions are our friends. Sounds so, my gosh. I'm going to ignore that because there's another one inside. So hopefully they'll ring again inside. Okay, so we have to feel to heal. It is scary to feel. But actually our emotions are just telling us, they're giving us a message. They're telling us that something needs to be looked at. And so is your fatigue. Your fatigue is saying, hey, something's out of balance here. Pay attention. It's trying to get you. Your body is calling you. It's calling you back home to yourself. We disconnect so we don't feel. We disconnect so we don't feel disempowered and out of control and overwhelmed. But we actually still do. And then we put all those coping mechanisms in place. And then that ramps up our nervous system. And then that impacts the physiological functioning, and our body goes out of balance. And also just on an energy level. So I can't tell you how many people who hold a lot of responsibilities, so they burden a lot, they shoulder responsibilities, how many of shoulder issues I've resolved through dealing with that. People whose arthritis is healed through working with their rigidity and inflexibility in life, their attitude of rigidity and inflexibility. Fibro can be so linked to this holding, this armoring we put around ourselves to feel safe. It's fibromyalgia. Inflammation in the body can be linked to holding anger, okay, suppressed anger in the body, and heat. The emotions have energy. The energy is held in the body, and it impacts the body on a physiological level. So there's a huge body-mind connection. The vagus nerve is also from the nervous system to the gut. So there's that. I mean, butterflies in the stomach is the most obvious one we all know, or feeling like you have a rock in your stomach or a hole in your stomach, depending on what's going on in your life. This is all the body-mind connection. So what I wanted to do was to help you just to become a bit more clear about what holding feels like in your life. So I'm going to run you through a quick practice now. I can ask you to close your eyes. So I'm going to close my eyes as well so I can tune in. Just take a few deep breaths. And bring yourself into your body. So follow the path of your breath. As you breathe in, follow the path of your breath with your awareness. And back out again. And just bringing your awareness into your body. For many of us who have been disconnected, it can be hard to actually feel and to stay in your body. Using the breath is a simple way to start doing that. I want you to feel what you're sitting on or lying on. Feel the surfaces against which your skin is making contact. Feel what's underneath your hands. Are they resting on each other? Are they resting on your legs? And I'd like you to now just notice what you feel in your jaw and your neck, and what you feel in your shoulders. You might want to kind of move a little bit. What do your stomach muscles feel like? What does it feel like right in your belly? And it may be that you're already holding, just in this moment, holding tension that you may not have been aware of. And it may be that this is actually your default. So when I started to really get into my body, I noticed that I almost felt like I had a metal band around my chest and my back. So it was more, I felt it at my back, behind my heart, like a metal band that was constricting me. And I realized that I was also often held my stomach muscles in. So I'm going to ask you to think of a time recently where you have felt overwhelmed and also very responsible for something, like having a great deal of responsibility. And again, just do a little tune in and check in with your body. Feel your jaw. So try and make that experience as vivid for yourself as possible, remembering it just like it happened, just as if you're back there now. Feel it in your jaw, what you feel in your jaw and your neck, your shoulders. Notice your breath. Is it faster, slower? And your heart rate. Notice your stomach muscles. Are they relaxed? And now I want you to notice if you're actually sinking down into your body, or are you actually pulling up slightly? Could you be more relaxed into your body? And are you resting back in your body, or are you actually pulled forward slightly? Now, when we're in this mode of slightly pulled up and pushing forward, we're pushing. It's not a relaxed state. It's one that uses energy, and it often indicates that there's a slight nervous system response going on. As we get more afraid, you'll have more tension. The heart rate will pound more. You'll go into more constriction and more perhaps protection in your body, and that's going to impact your physical functioning and your physiology, your body systems even more, which is what contributes to the chronic fatigue and burnout. So what I'd like you to do now is I want you to imagine you're lying on, so if you're a beach person, you're lying on the beach. The sun is warm. You can hear the waves just caressing the shore as they lap up and down. Or if you're not a beach person, just be on your bed. That feeling when you just let go of the whole day and you sink into your bed. I'd like you to feel what happens in your body. Tune in again. And it can take a little while, even when we go to sleep at night, to actually let the body fully relax. So you may find that you're still not in a relaxed state. But just notice if there's perhaps easing. So even when we meditate, sometimes it can take up to 10 minutes to really get into a deeply relaxed state. But you should start to feel some easing on your jaw, your neck, wherever else you are feeling tension, noticing your stomach muscles. And I'd like you to just occupy the back part of your body, really resting into that, imagining that you're being held by the ground beneath you. You're resting onto it. And if you're sitting, but you're imagining lying, right? Just rest into your pelvis. So this feeling of leaning back and resting down, this is what comes when we feel supported, when we trust life, we trust that we're going to be okay no matter what happens. When we feel safe, and when we feel empowered, even if life is difficult and things are out of our control. So this can be really tricky when you've lived an entire lifetime trying to keep everything in control to feel safe and good enough, or when you've tended to easily become anxious or stressed or overwhelmed. But this is the regenerative mode that your body needs to heal. If you can add more of this into your life, your physiology will change, your biochemistry will change, your body will start to heal. Because you can eat healthy food and take supplements until you're blue in the face, but if your nervous system is not managed, if you don't transform your nervous system response to one that is more balanced and has more phases of relaxation, it's not going to make that much difference what you do. Okay, so you can open your eyes now if you want. So that's what I want to share with you is this experience of chronic fatigue and burnout. It is a deeply body mind based experience, and you have to address. Okay, you may know some people who came right after taking the supplements and the food, and that's awesome, and I'm always happy when I hear those stories because it's lovely that it's that easy for them. I wish that for everyone, but for many of us, transformation is not easy. Okay, it's inconvenient. The caterpillar breaks down into a whole little cellular mush inside the cocoon before it comes back together again as the butterfly. You need to break down sometimes before you can come back together. And that is what this chronic fatigue and the burnout often is. It's your chance to come back together in a healthier way, to come back together as a butterfly, even better than before. But you have to use it consciously and listen to what your body's trying to say to you. I know this is very difficult to do when your default has been different from this, where you may not even have believed that you have any kind of body-mind imbalance or that you are anxious. I'm going to do a whole post on a whole live on trauma and anxiety, just to give a different perspective on that. But if you need support with this, please, I'd love to work with you. You can sign up for a discovery call on my website, www.kerrymagnus.net, and we can discuss what that looks like. And I have got a membership group in the pipeline. It is happening. I know I've mentioned before, but that'll make it a more profitable. What's the word I'm thinking of? Will make it easier on the pocket for you versus the one-on-one coaching, which is what the Fatigue to Flow program is that I offer. And of course, I'm going to keep posting in here. So stay in the group. I'll keep sharing resources. And I hope I've planted some seeds for you. I believe in you. I honor you and this journey you're walking. And I know that you're here in this place you're in right now in life because you are ready. Because the healing comes to us. The crisis comes to us when it's time to heal. Okay, I really believe that. I really believe it. So I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.